Okay guys, part 2 of dog breeding costs. I'm gonna make this very short and simple. I don't want the first video to be useless, but I want it all right here for you, something you could come back to, or just easy to watch instead of me just walking around and talking about it. So I have two charts up here. This one is something that I found from somebody else. Some of them are kind of wrong, some of them are kind of right, but two of them right here, one is mine, one is theirs. Female, $2,000 to $5,000. True. You need to get a good female. If you get one with issues and whatnot, you'll have puppies with issues, and it'll be hard to sell pups like that. If you don't have a lineage with your dog or even papers, again, you'll find a very hard time selling those pups if you can at all. It'll probably be very cheap if you can. $5,000 for a good female, and I'm specifically talking about XXL bullies. Having a lineage, or at least being very healthy and being single registered, being a nice breeding stock dog, nice structure, nice health, stuff like that. Or if you're just breeding anything you find, messed up structure, messed up health, allergy issues or something, find a hard time selling those pups. So $5,000 for a female dog sounds about right. Could be more, could be less if you find a good deal. If you're trying to cut costs on food and stuff like that, so let's say you, instead of getting a male dog, you end up getting a stud to save space, to save food and whatnot. So a stud fee for a good stud would be something like $2,500, could be up to $5,000. It just depends on the stud you find. And of course you want a good stud that matches the caliber of your female. Obviously there's no point in getting a stud that, again, just anything to be bred. When you have a female that's $5,000 with a good lineage, famous dogs or something like that, no point. Then you need to think about, can your female have a live birth? You'll need to get sonograms to see that, or x-rays, because you'll need to see if the pup's heads are too big to fit through the canal. Because if they're too big to fit through the canal, then obviously they can't have a natural birthing and they'll need a C-section. And C-sections, it says here, is $500 to $1,000, but that's pretty optimistic in my opinion. I mean, a C-section you'll find can even be something $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, and especially if it's an emergency C-section, you're going to be paying money for that C-section. You need PG tests, and that's basically just finding the ovulation. It's measuring the hormones when they're in heat to find the day that they're going to ovulate, and you need to time the breeding with your ovulation so that you can have the most pups in your litter. Because if you don't do that and you end up breeding too early or too late, you'll have a very small litter of something like 2 or 3 pups, and obviously you don't want that. That could very easily put you in the red. Yeah, $3,000 I'm saying is also a very optimistic number, but I'm gonna say that. Puppy care, $1,000, another optimistic number. You're gonna be paying for things like crate. I bought 2 crates because I knew that having them roll around in their poop and whatnot when I can't watch them is just no good. They'll get sick and die. So stuff like that, and feeding them. What happens if your mama dog doesn't want to breastfeed them anymore? What if she doesn't produce milk anymore? So you had to step in and start supplementing them by making your own puppy formula. And then after they're done weaning, you're going to be needing to feed them puppy mush or puppy kibble. Think about that, because you need to be paying for that food. You need to be paying for their care, their well-being, not to mention their deworming and their vaccines, which is probably another, I mean, this is a very optimistic number. This is probably something like $2,000, $3,000. Yeah, vaccines, deworming for them, as you've seen on our channel, how we do things. And if you're going to the vet for those things, good luck to you. That's a crazy amount of money in my opinion. And a whelping box, so you're gonna get a whelping box unless you're gonna make it yourself. I mean, guys, the whelping box that we made for Bertha is not perfect at all. The sidewalls were too thin, and what ended up happening is one of the puppies got crushed. Yeah, we lost a puppy because of that. Either that, or Bertha had just decided that that pup was not fit to live. And like I said in part 1, I'm not trying to make it useless as a video, but like I said in part 1, it's your mama dog can very easily just decide that a pup is not fit to live for any other reason and kill them. So it's not like you can just leave them with the mom and expect your mom to take care of them. You need to be watching over them, and that takes time. It takes time to whelp. It takes time to take care of a litter and make sure they're well socialized and healthy and taken care of. Really, you can't even sleep. You need to stay up and make sure that your pups are living. So whelping box, something you need to take into account of if you're building it yourself or you're buying one or something or doing whatever you do. Likely it'll still cost you money. So $200 is what I'm saying. $1,000 for food for the year for your female dog. $2,000 if you have a male, unless you're using the stud fee. And that's also another optimistic number. I think I'm paying $4 to $5 a day for each of my dogs, and I have 4 of them right now. And then and I feed them raw. If you're feeding kibble, it could be the same thing, could be more or less, but generally it's going to be $1,000. What did they say here? They said, I don't think they even put food costs in here. So health tests, you need OFA health tests. Otherwise you're just another breeder who doesn't know what's going on. So you need health tests going on. Embark or OFA or Embark, preferably OFA. Embark DNA test is better than nothing. You need registration. Again, if you're going to get a female with a good lineage, that's awesome. Or at least have a single registered female, has a very great structure and is very healthy and is breeding material. Who knows what you're going to be paying for a camera unless you're using your phone. And then you're going to be paying $40 in puppy ads. That's pretty standard. Collars, leashes, dog bowls, crates for your adult dog. If you're going to be going to PetSmart and getting the wire crates for $100 or so, that's what we have. But that's what we're trying to move out of and get some better crates that are better made. Nobody knows what the kennel or house repair cost is going to be. Your water and electricity, who knows? Gas and car repairs, because it's not like you can just get food out of nowhere. You need to go and drive and get food for your dogs. Deworming, fenbendazole, ivermectin, things for coccidia or whatever else. Who knows about emergency medicine in case your female dog gets sick or something. A wishy wash is definitely needed for your pups to make sure that they don't get sick and die. It's a chlorine based washer that you spray from a hose, and then we bought a pressure washer to clean up the puppy cages too. So then these are all things that you're taking into account before you're even seeing anything back. And the monthly expenses, you need dish soap, you need pet shampoo, you need and if you're getting a vet, that's $20 vet care. So I have the numbers right here for you. That's a yearly cost. And Fabuloso or Pine Sol, you can't use the wishy wash for everything. I mean, you could try, but even that's going to cost you money. But $5 for Fabuloso or Pine Sol every month. Yeah. So let's say you do everything right, and this is your first litter. You'll probably be lucky to be able to sell them for $3,000, $2,000. Or who knows? Maybe the lineage in your female and your stud actually carries a lot of reputation, and you're actually able to sell them for $5,000 optimistically. But I'm gonna just use $3,000 because it's written down here now. But $3,000 times 7, let's say 7 pups in general. XXLs, American Bullies, can have more. I mean, Bertha had something like 13. 4 of them were stillborn. 1 of them crushed. So we had 8 left. So I'm gonna say 7 is the average. For you probably have more or less, but $24,000 optimistically, you have 2 litters a year. You might not have 2 litters a year. Who knows if you even have time for 2 litters a year? What if for some reason your female is retired early? It can easily happen where your female finds complications before their 3 litters that they're supposed to provide for you, or optimistically that you want them to have. They can have 1 litter and something went extremely wrong where you realize you can't breed her again. What if she dies? Or what if you get sick? What if you've missed the heat? What if you have a small litter because you didn't time it right, the breeding with the ovulation? It's not everything that can go wrong, but it's just some major things. There are way more major things and not too unlikely to happen. Things that are not too unlikely to happen that can mess up your plans. So let's say you made $24,000 from that litter and everything went well. You had 7 pups, you sold them all for $3,000, and you basically spent $15,000 with all this or so. Again, that's another optimistic number. So you have $9,000 left for living, for whatever you've spent, and you're like, well, why don't I just get 2 females? Okay, so You get 2 females, you just, some of these costs get doubled, like buying the puppy, so you get so like $10,000, and then food costs is like $2,000, C-section, PG test, another $3,000, so that's $6,000, or maybe, you know, more or less or so. Another stud fee, you know, you still need to pay that stud fee. Leash, collar, bowl, all that, crate, still need to pay those. You could probably reuse the whelping box. You need health tests. You need registration unless they already are registered and have a really nice lineage. I personally think single register is fine, just as long as they're very healthy, again, and nice breeding stock dogs. Yeah, these are things you still need to pretty much double up on. So let's say you've spent $40,000 and from 2 females having 2 litters that year. Again, you might not even have 2 litters a year from a female. It doesn't always time out so well. It's not just like on the dot every 6 months they have a heat that you can breed to. It could be longer than that. It can be earlier than that. You can't really control that, you know. I don't know about people who put hormones in their pups and in their females to get them have or let them have their heat earlier. I really don't know anything about that. So 2 females having 2 litters that year, you've made $96,000 if you're selling them for $3,000 each. You've spent something like $40,000 or more, and you have $50,000 left for living. Not bad, right? But again, that's 4 litters that year. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of hard work. You know, it's not just have a litter and go. Really want to do this for money? Probably not, guys. Probably not, because you will probably lose money. I'm not gonna lie. Not only will you lose money, you'll lose a lot of money. So many things to think about that you have to pay for before you're actually making any money. And even when you do make money, how much of that is actually just going back to the dog? Now, that might be okay if you're trying to do it for a living, but at the same time, how are you going to provide for all of that before you even have any money or an established kennel? It's likely that you're having another job, unless you have somebody helping you, before you're actually doing anything. If you do have a second job to provide for you trying to dog breed, what makes you think that you're gonna have enough time for multiple litters a year? You need to be able to take care of your puppies and make sure that they're not only good in cleanliness and being clean, but well-being, you know, making sure that they're ready for a new home at that 10-12 week mark. Now, I'm not saying that you need to really train them, but you do need to make sure that they are properly socialized, and that takes time, some effort, you know, and it's not easy. When you have a litter, you also just can't really sleep. You need to be up making sure that the litter is okay, that the puppies are not dead or the puppies are not sick. This is, you know, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and even with hard work and dedication, you could still fail. You need luck on your side for sure. You could really be doing the most and still not get anything out of it, you know, really. Exercising them is also time consuming. Besides the money aspect, what about the time aspect? You know, how much time do you have on your hands to dedicate to this, to invest into this? Another thing to think about, guys, even after you've sold puppies and whatnot, how are you going to avoid people who are scamming you or trying to run away with the dogs or just not pay you? How are you going to deal with it if one of your main dogs die, if your foundation dogs of your kennel die? How do you deal with these things, you know? This is the real aspect of breeding that makes it not a very good thing as a side hustle or whatever else. Because it's really not a side hustle or anything else. Even if you do it as a puppy mill, you could lose money too, and very easily, and I'm sure a lot of them do. It's likely that you have another job or something, a full-time job even, to provide for all of this. So if you have another job and you're having 4 litters a year, I don't know, guys. That 40,000 is tough to eat for 96,000 prospected that you're really not certain you're gonna get. Imagine if you didn't choose the right female, or even if you did choose the right female and you're having issues selling pups, and for some reason you sell them for $500 each, times 7 times 4, right? Because you have 4 litters that year. So 500 times 7 times 4. So you've made $14,000. You spent something like $40,000. That's why you don't see American Bullies selling for $500 usually, unless they have to get rid of those pups, unless they've not chosen the right females, the right studs, they have issues with their puppies, make it hard for them to sell. That's the only times you're going to be seeing a pup for $500, $1,000. My pups for $1,000 to $2,000. The reason why I'm doing that is to build my reputation. People aren't going to be selling these pups for the same reason that I am, or who knows, they could be very nice pups, but they can't hold on to them anymore. They need to get rid of them, so they sell them cheap. I know for a fact that I'm going to be at a loss after I sell these pups. The trade-off to that is that I'm having testimonials. It's all playing together, and this is why I'm doing it this way, so that I can make a living off of this. Again, I'm not so sure this is a good side hustle. Actually, I'm pretty certain that it's not a good side hustle. It's not some kind of hobby. It'd be a very expensive hobby. So maybe it can be a hobby, but you'll never make money as a hobby. As a living, I feel like there's a certain way to do things, and I'm planning it out this way. So after this, my pups are going to be something like, they should be $7,000. I mean, we're going to pockets now with Bonnie. I think Bonnie's just about to hit her heat. We're going to be bringing in a Rockomania pocket boy. A lot of Rockomania blood in him, which is a show champion. That boy is nice. He looks amazing. And then we're going to be going and starting our Frenchies soon. But the pups should be something like $5,000 to make it all worthwhile. If it will be worthwhile. It's likely I'll still be in the red. Okay. So that's about it. I just wanted to try and make it short and simple. Here's it all right in front of you. I hope this video helped. This is going to be the last video I make on this. This is part 2. I hope part 1 isn't just for nothing and just a waste of space, but this is Sahara and Bonnie Bullies. We're a family-owned kennel, XXL and pockets. We're starting Frenchies soon. I'm gonna have a fluffy Frenchie litter, which is gonna be pretty nice. And I do things the right way. I try to think about the temperaments, the structures of the dogs, the health issues, if any, to avoid. So contact us through the number below. That's going to be my number. You're going to be talking to me directly. We do have puppies available, and I'm going to be posting a video of them soon in the yard. I'm going to clean that up and spray it down with chlorine so that they don't get sick. They have had their second shots. They're ready to go to their homes ASAP. And for whoever watched this video trying to figure out dog breeding, I'll wish the best of luck to you, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe and like. Keep in touch and see what's going on with our kennel. Thanks.